Today I'm making pesto, very basic, only a few ingredients, fresh basil, I've got 2 bunches, pine nuts, garlic, lemon and Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, olive oil. We'll start get some baking paper. And for 2 bunches of basil, I'm going to use about 110 grams. Of pine nuts. Just natural pine nuts. I've got my oven preheated to 180, and I'm just going to spread these pine nuts out on a baking tray. And we're just going to roast these. Alright, so while our pine nuts are in the oven, I'm going to pick our basil. Alright, so just take any stem off that. And I've got my sink cleaned out and filling up with some cold water, and we'll just give this a wash. Alright, so just get our basil washed. Get that drained off. And these are quite big, these bunches, so you know, if you're buying it from a supermarket, you might need 3 or even 4 bunches to get to this kind of quantity. So that's 180 grams of washed, dried basil. Alright, so just take out our pine nuts. They've taken about 10 minutes. They're lovely and toasted. And we just need to let them completely cool back to room temperature before we proceed. While we wait for those cooling down, we can just prep our garlic. I've got the last of the garlic I've got, which are all quite small, so I've got like 5 small cloves of garlic. Just give that a rough slice up. This is going to be blended, so it doesn't need to be diced too finely. Alright, so our pine nuts are cooled down. I measured this garlic. I've got 7 grams of peeled chopped garlic, and I've just grated some Parmesan, which is Parmigiano Reggiano, and I've got 55 grams of grated Parmesan. And I've got some quality Australian olive oil, so I wouldn't usually measure this, but for the recipe, so we'll just start with half a cup. Half a cup of olive oil. Alright, now it's best I find the easiest way is to use a stick blender and a large, thin container. Alright, we'll just start with our basil in there. Alright, and that was 180 grams of picked, washed basil. Alright, and half a cup of olive oil. Just to help us out, because we need some more. Just go another quarter of a cup. Alright, and that's quite well blended now. We'll need more olive oil, so I'll go another quarter of a cup. And we'll just pop our garlic in there now. I've just got one lemon. I'm going to juice the whole lemon. So I've got the juice of one lemon. We'll just go with about half of that for now. And our pine nuts. Alright, and salt and pepper. I can just see that this is also going to need some more oil, so there's another quarter cup there. At this stage I'll just check how we're doing for acid and seasoning. I'll pop the rest of that lemon in. Pinch more salt. Alright, and at this stage, you always want to put your cheese in at the end. It doesn't need a lot of blending. In with our Reggiano. Give that another taste. Just needs a slight bit more cheese. Which is another 20 grams, so 75 in total. Alright, so it turns out my little cloves of garlic weren't enough, so I had to run down the shop and grab some more garlic, because it definitely needs probably like double the amount of garlic it had in there. And because I've got all this cheese already blended, I'm going to have to really mince up this garlic before I put it in there. But I think that should be good. That was like one large clove. Which is another 10 grams. One technique for mincing garlic is just to slice it a bit, put some coarse salt on it, and just smush it with the side of your knife. Alright, now we've got a real garlic paste there, which will blend through in seconds. Much better. Alright, so we've got a, it's about a litre of pesto now, which is many portions. So what I do is just put it in some ice cube trays and in the freezer. And this freezes really well, and you just need to get a butter knife or and kind of like pry it out, but they come out very easily. Alright, so I've got two ice cube trays of pesto, so I'll just pop them just like that straight into the freezer. And later on tonight, when they're frozen, each tray I'll just pop in a plastic bag and wrap it over the top, and that'll store like that in the freezer for several months. Alright, so our pesto's been in the freezer a couple of hours. It's not completely frozen, but it's frozen enough so we can now just, all I do is just stick it in a bag. And I just freeze it like that. And when I come home from work and I want to do a quick meal, I just get a butter knife, and one of these cubes will just pop out of there really easily. And I'd probably do like 2 or 2.5 cubes per 2 portions. I'm always cooking for 2 people, so I do, you know, for the pasta I'm going to make tonight, I do 2.5 cubes. And then, so when I get home from work, I just heat up my oven, currently on 190, get a bit of baking paper on a tray, and I've got 2 Dutch cream potatoes that I'll just peel. So I've got 2 Dutch cream potatoes. I went to a market today and I found these beautiful looking purple carrots. So I'm going to peel one of these. So 1 peeled purple carrot. I'll just take a large bowl. Just need a slight more amount of pumpkin. Alright, so some diced pumpkin. These purple carrots look incredible. Alright, so veg in there, some salt, salt and pepper, bit of olive oil, alright, now just give them a toss. Beautiful colour. Onto a baking tray. Alright, oven preheated, 190. 45 minutes total, so after about 20-25 minutes I'll turn them over, and then about another 20 minutes. So I'd usually have cubes of pesto, but because I just made this fresh, I just kept some out of the freezer. I'll just get some pasta water heating up. And, you know, a bit of salt in that. And for 2 people I do 150 grams of pasta. I completely ignore what the packet says and go off taste, and I've cooked this pasta many times before, and I recommend you do the same. So just figure out how you like to eat your pasta. But when it's about 9 minutes away from cooked, I'm going to throw into the pasta water some chopped up green beans. So I'll just top and tail these. Just give them a little wash. Alright, so I've got some washed green beans, and I'm just going to cut them into little 2 centimeter lengths or thereabouts. 3 centimeters, just little bite-sized pieces. And when my pasta's 10 minutes off cooked, I'll just pop them in the pasta water. So our veggies have been in the oven about 25 minutes. Just going to turn them over. Back in the oven. Alright, so in with our pesto. Just going to put a small amount of Persian feta. Alright, very small amount. Now it's optional, you can either put it in with the pesto, which it'll become part of the sauce, or you can put it on top as a garnish at the end. But I put it in now because the person I'm cooking for doesn't like white cheese, and so I'm basically just hiding it. And it turned out to be a, like, this is how I'd prefer to make it. So just put it in now, and it'll become part of the sauce of this pasta with the pesto. Alright, so I've got my pasta boiling in the pot. It's got about 8 or 9 minutes to go, so I'm just going to throw in my green beans. And you could do any green. I mean, if it was broccoli, it might be 5 minutes to go, and I'd throw them in. Alright, so we got our small amount of pesto and our Persian feta in this bowl. And we'll need a small amount of Parmesan cheese to dress the top. Alright, so our pasta's cooked. And we'll just take a few tablespoons of pasta water out and into our sauce. And the rest of the pasta I've just drained. And this I'll just mix everything together. And this is going to be our sauce, our pasta sauce. Alright, and we'll just go in with our pasta and green beans. And this is all seasoned. You know, there's a good amount of salt in our pasta water. So all the pasta is seasoned and the pesto is seasoned. I've got my two hot bowls. Alright, and our roast veg right on top. And just to finish, some Reggiano. And when you've come home, you know, late in the afternoon from work, this is a super easy, yummy, absolutely yummy dinner you can prepare in under an hour. Alright. Beautiful vegetarian dinner.